Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Meta Cafe. Grab your cup of coffee or your tea, sit back, and let's chat about the weekend. Yay! It's Friday, and that means we are looking ahead at the next 3 days because I always count Friday as the weekend just because I like to start it early. So we might as well think about it, right? It's good to see everybody this morning and to be back here with you. Although it was nice to have a break, I would rather have the break consciously than because of some of the things that were going on for me. So I'm back and let's just jump in. I hope everybody had a great couple of days. The astrology of the last couple of days was fairly interesting, not anything real bad, but certainly kind of chaotic, a little bit crazy. The outer world was also crazy because it gave me an opportunity for once to have to really listen in to what was going on. I didn't have to listen in, but it was there in my face more frequently because I wasn't as busy. And so lots going on with things in this country and setting the stage, I think, for what will be a very, very cantankerous new year, especially after our new Congress takes control in January. See who's out there this morning. Good morning, Mimi. It's good to see you too. Oh, she's at the gallery this morning. I hope you're having fun there. Good morning, Cindy. Glad to see you as well. Good morning, Vanita. Good morning, Michelle. Good to see everybody out there. Even if you haven't checked in with me, I see a couple of people out there, but I can't tell from the pictures who you are. So let's just dive in and see what's going on for the weekend. Oh, hold on. Somehow I have, no? Okay. Notifications were popping up and I thought I closed them out. At any rate, today we have the moon in Pisces. So today takes on one of those days where it is, we want to stay in bed or we just want to escape in a good book, escape to a nice gallery where we can just, escape in the artwork or in the beauty around us. So today is a day where nothing really concrete is going to get done. So you might as well just forget it. It's Friday of a week before, Christmas, 2 weeks before Christmas now, I guess. Actually, a week and a half. Yikes. And, I think a lot of people in the office are not going to be, really thrilled about working. You may have some things to clean up off your desk and get done with, but for the most part, today is a much more dreamy, imaginative, and creative day than it is for getting anything really done. There's one small blip on the screen today, and that is the moon is in a sort of odd connection to Pluto, and that makes for some emotional explosions, perhaps. I mean, we're already in a water sign with the moon. The moon represents emotion, and Pisces is emotional. And then we get, some major planets moving through that energy, or the moon moving, in sort of a connection to some of these bigger planets, and it can make for some explosions. So Londa's like, no, I have so much to do. Well, if you have things to do, Londa, and they were already on sort of your schedule, then great, get them done. Maybe in your particular chart, you can use the energy to your advantage, especially if it's something that you're trying to create. This would be a great day, I think, to wrap presents or to finish putting the finishing touches on something that you're creating for Christmas. I don't know, those kinds of things. But when I say nothing concrete today, it's not going to be a good day to decide that you're going to change your life and that you're going to move forward with that. That's probably not going to be something that really happens because, first of all, whenever the moon is in Pisces, one of the energies that we're coming up against is our idealism versus what's real, what's really possible. And today there aren't really many connections to Saturn. So what's real isn't really available. And if you choose to move in a direction today that is of your ideals and without being grounded in reality, then by Sunday, when we start having, some connections with the moon and Saturn, you're going to be very unhappy because now reality is going to bite. And so the best thing to do is to realize that we are a bit dreamy. We're a bit out there right now. And there's nothing wrong with being dreamy. Be dreamy. But, write down your ideas or or, put them out there, for some time later for taking action. Maybe they're just beautiful dreams right now and not so much something that you're supposed to take action on. I mean, and what is it with dreams, by the way? Oh my gosh. So the night before I had my issue, I dreamt about a rattlesnake, two of them to be exact. And in my dreams, I mean, like you would have thought I was on crack or something because they were so bizarre. In my dream, I realize I'm in a building, but I'm in the desert. And I I think to myself, wow, we better be careful for rattlesnakes. And just then I look over and there's this rattlesnake coming into the room and he stretches out and he's probably, I don't know, 7, 8 feet long, big rattlesnake. And then I went, wow, look at that. It's a rattlesnake. Everybody watch out. And just as soon as I say that, he snaps into a coil and my daughter was standing there. And I said, get out of the way. He's going to strike. And he doesn't strike. He just sits there coiled up and hissing. And then I move off into another room. And then there's a baby rattlesnake trying to escape. So that's the rattlesnake dream. Then yesterday, I went outside and got the mail and I was coming back in. And I look up and above my house, there are two ravens and they're circling my house. And I'm thinking, oh my God, is my cat outside? Not that a raven would really attack my cat, but these are, ravens are big birds. They're not small. In fact, I had an issue at first wondering, is that a bald eagle or is that a raven? Bald eagle, even more danger, right? A raven, not so much danger, but I'm like, why is this thing circling my house? And as soon as it knew that I noticed it, it did one last circle and went off into the trees. And I went, wow, shapeshifter, magic, I don't know, something extraordinary. And then last night, I dreamt about bees or wasps. Couldn't tell you which because I didn't get close enough, but they were all buzzing at one of my heater vents. So I swear to you, I'm not on drugs, but my dreams have seemed a little drugged out and a little odd. And I think there is this pathway opening up, perhaps because of the force of the moon in Pisces, but at that point it was in Aquarius, and opening up some kinds of pathways from the unconscious or the subconscious mind into the conscious mind. So if you're out there having weird dreams or odd things coming up from deep within you, greet them because they're messages coming up from somewhere meant for you to understand something about yourself. So definitely, take some steps to look at what that means, maybe journaling it. I was, looking things up once I felt better to try to find out what the heck all those symbols meant. And anyway, in the meantime, that is the energy we have at least through tomorrow afternoon. So that means perhaps another night of weird dreams or odd things coming up to you from your subconscious mind. It's kind of fun when that happens. I really do like trying. It's like a puzzle, right? And you're trying to discern what it is that your unconscious mind is bringing up for you. What is the symbol? What did rattlesnake mean? And, there's relatively little written about specifically the rattlesnake. Why? It all goes to snake, about healing and about shedding your skin, transforming or transmuting, that kind of thing. But I would guess that this was specific. I mean, I knew it was a rattlesnake. I heard it. I could see it rattling. But rattlesnake was kind of not so much out there. Londa says, to tame the snake is to tame the mind. And my mind had been on overtime, that is for sure. Londa says the Hopi work with rattlesnake in their kivas, and only certain people can work with rattlesnake. They hold the rattlesnake medicine. I bet you I hold rattlesnake medicine in some way, because I'll tell you why. When I was pregnant that's interesting, because I was pregnant with Heather, the daughter in the dream that the rattlesnake coiled up at her feet. But I was pregnant with her and we were hiking through, I want to say it was through the Sequoia National Park in California. And we were going to some caves. And along the path, I picked up not a sound, but I picked up some sense that there was something watching me. And I turned and looked, and on the ground, right maybe 3 feet from me, was a rattlesnake. And I'm pregnant, right? The last thing I want in the middle of a hike, in the middle of, God's green earth, is a snake bite. And I put my hand up to the people behind me to let them know that there was, something happening. And I just quietly sat there. That snake never rattled, never made a move. He just watched me and allowed us all to walk on by. It was amazing. But apparently we weren't a threat. So I'm getting chills even thinking about this. So rattlesnake holds some kind of special meaning. Now, what the bees and or wasps were about, I don't know. I'd rather think of them as bees because wasps are stings. I don't know. But anyway, I'm thinking that more than just me is probably experiencing this kind of oddness going on where there might be, all kinds of signs or symbols coming up from the unconscious mind for you. Let's see. Cindy says, it is said that dreaming of a rattlesnake means that you are perceptive of your significant other and that there is something wrong. In this dream, you may have a rattlesnake. The snakes rattle. The snake rattles. The snake's venom. A dead snake. Positive changes are afoot if you are going to get through your pain. Cool. And the ancestral body of snake, Londa says. Debbie, good morning to you. I hope you're feeling better. I am definitely getting there. Laura, good morning, all. Good morning, all. Laura says, hope you're feeling better, Janet. Thank you. I am. Good morning, Rebecca. Great to see you too. Londa says, no. Oh, okay. We're back. Good morning, Natasha. I almost skipped you. Good morning, Willa. And I think I have said hello to everybody that's out there. So today then, Moon in Pisces, be dreamy. Maybe journal, do some things that are creative. Don't worry if you cannot take concrete steps forward to do something that, if you have a to-do list, my projector friend Londa, remember that sometimes the spleen, when it's open, is overly taxed with things to do. And I can't remember right now if you have an open spleen and an open root center, but if you do, you need to be good with what your energy is able to do today. There's also a Uranus and Neptune connection coming up. It's called a semi-square. And a semi-square, I think we've talked about it before. A square is a 90-degree relationship between planets. A semi-square would mean a half square, which would be 45-degree angle. And, there's sort of this restless feeling. And I think this has been going on for a long time within us, where there's, things that every time perhaps that Uranus or Neptune get triggered, and they've been triggered a lot lately, that we somehow become a little bit triggered restlessness wise, where there's this feeling within us where we're looking for inspiration, where we're looking for the path ahead, where we may be bored or restless in the things that we've been doing. We're looking for more, but we can't find it, or we're confused, or we just don't know. It's almost that, feeling of being ill at ease in your own skin. And I know that feeling. I've been feeling that off and on as I've struggled over the last couple of weeks, several weeks actually, trying to decide what direction to take my business, my life, etc. Where am I going? What am I doing? Who am I doing it with? And that's not something that's like playing in my mind in a big way, but sort of at times just pops up. And I'll look at something that I do on a daily basis, which might be, for example, producing the video. After we get done in the morning, I go back and I answer your comments and things if I have time. And I also have to take the video and produce it into a radio show because I put it on Blog Talk as a podcast, because I had feedback from people about liking the idea of having it as a podcast so they could just listen to it, while they're driving home from somewhere or whatever. And so I found myself thinking about, oh no, not another hour spent trying to produce this video into a Blog Talk show, and going, God, it's cumbersome. It's not easy. And how nice it would be to have an assistant that could do all that for me. And then, thinking about, not having the resources available to really do that. And so why am I doing that? And just, back and forth, going back and forth, back and forth. If you're going back and forth in your mind, and you're going back and forth with this series of, I'm restless, I'm bored, I want to go in a new direction. No, I don't want to go in that direction. Then you're in good company, because we're all kind of feeling that. And literally, this is a connection between Uranus and Neptune that does sort of is like breathing, right? It comes into a connection and then it releases. and then it comes back and releases, and it's not done with us until May of 2019. Thank you very much. So through the next, 6 months or so, you may feel at times like you're not inspired to continue doing something, or you're looking for new inspiration about new ways to do what you're doing. And it's just part and parcel of the package. And Debbie, I know you're feeling this because, sweetheart, let me think about this. I think it was your Uranus is in the 5th house. No, that's not you. Something is in your 5th house, and Uranus is coming ever closer to it. And maybe it's your Jupiter. Well, I don't know. I don't know now, but I know something's coming ever closer to this for you. And then when Uranus is in retrograde, like it is right now, you're relieved a little bit of it, or you're going backwards in your mind back to a time when you were considering this. And then Uranus in January moves forward and hopefully ends up finally releasing for you in inspiration and in direction. So that's one advantage for knowing your chart, is that kind of why something is happening, even though you don't really like it or understand exactly what it's all about, but you can understand that, hey, this is something going on in my chart. Good morning, Michelle Brooks. Good to see you out there. So Londa, you bring up something really excellent, something that, she and I were chatting about yesterday, about birthing something new. We are in the birthing time of the Christ as well, embodying the Christ heart. And indeed, I didn't get around to listening to Marianne Williamson's talk until yesterday. And indeed, she was talking about exactly that, right? What is it that we're birthing? And throughout my last couple of days, what I could feel in my abdomen was this grumbling, grinding, quickening feeling, almost like, if we're all women here. So if you've given birth to a child, you know what that feeling is just before you actually launch into labor and give birth, that grumbling feeling. Only, obviously I'm not literally giving birth, but something like that was moving through my system. And there's always a huge release of toxins at that point, so that the baby is born into a more pristine environment, perhaps. So lots going on for us, and deep things, just deep stuff in the dark, in the deep, and maybe not as obvious to us in the outer world what that means. But I think as we start to move through the season here and into the new year, things become clearer for us, and we'll know what it was that was moving through the deep and what it was that we were birthing, and be able to take steps at that point. Mimi, that's great. Finally dawned on her that the decision is no decision for now. And, I think our cards over the last couple of days, well, before I wasn't here, have been very much about that, right? This, even not making a decision is sometimes a decision, the best decision, because it's the only pathway open to us right now. So be happy for that, right? So we're looking for inspiration today. We're looking for inspiration into tomorrow. And you know what I was inspired to do yesterday, which I didn't do? So funny, because inspiration comes and then it goes, is I don't know that I have ever read Marianne Williamson's book, A Return to Love. And so I went, when I was listening to her talk about that yesterday, or in the recording of her talk, I went, you know what? I don't think I've ever read that book. So I went into the other room and I got my Kindle, because my intention was I was going to download it and read it later. And then I went, oh no, I have charts I need to get ready. I never purchased the book, but I was inspired to, but I never took action on the inspiration. And that's kind of what I feel like sometimes is happening for us right now, is that we get inspired, and then either we take action and then regret it later, or we don't take action and then we're left going, why didn't I do that? That would have been a really good thing for me to do. But as it turns out, I would have never had the time to read it. So it just interesting things like that, right? And I think Mimi's really got something there when she says it's a decision. It's a no decision time. And, certainly purchasing a book for Kindle wouldn't have, cost me a lot of time or money for that matter. But, it would be symbolic of what I do on and on and on throughout my life. And I'm very mindful right now of where we're going in the new year when it's about minding your resources. I mean, what's the point? Even if it is only a $9, $10 purchase, what's the point of buying something that then sits on your Kindle and then you don't read or don't use? Right? Minor thing, but it speaks to a lot of the things that I begin and then I don't finish. So, and a lot of times I begin things and don't finish them because I act from a place of inspiration, and then the inspiration passes, and then I'm left with, I don't know what, right? 20 Kindle books sitting on my Kindle that I haven't read. It's pretty funny, actually. I have all kinds of books sitting on my Kindle that I could read, but I have not read. So why buy another one? It's that kind of thing that we're thinking about, right? So if you can take what goes on in my humble life as, high weirdness and pointing us in certain directions, then take my advice and pay attention to what you're being inspired by, but try not to take any action on it, especially if it's something big, until you have much more clarity around what it is that you're doing. And Natasha, that's interesting. She says, I feel like I'm picking up the crumbs of my power that I left around as the universe presents that opportunity. That's cool. That is very cool. Debbie says, boy, is that me? And her cards have said the same thing. So there we go, right? So today brings us all kinds of those kinds of thoughts and weirdness and dreams and imagination, inspiration, but not a lot of impetus to take action on it. Or if you take action on it, there's not a lot of follow through energy there for you. So beware, right? Like I said, an $11 book would not have been a big tragedy. But what if I had been inspired to spend $1,100 on something and then lost inspiration after the deed was done? That would not have been so good, right? So keeping everything in perspective. Saturday, tomorrow, the moon is in Pisces all day, most of the day, I should say. It is void, of course, from 3:49 a.m. The moon is void nearly all day because it doesn't change out of Pisces and into Aries until 4:44 p.m. So literally we are in about, what is that, a 12, 13 hour void, of course, moon. So tomorrow is definitely not a good day to start things. It is a great day to finish things. It is a great day to meditate, to be spiritual, to, play, to socialize perhaps, but it is not a day to get things done, except maybe to finish up. Maybe you have some Christmas shopping to do, or some, cookies that need to be finished. Whatever that kind of thing is favored, but definitely not a day to start something new. Thank God it occurs on a weekend, because here's the problem. When the moon shifts out of Pisces and into Aries, which is what's happening, Aries is ruled by Mars, and Mars requires what? Action, motion, forwardness. And there's this inspiration again that's happening, but now we're inspired to take action, and inspired to take action on ways that maybe aren't going to be beneficial for us. So, we're slowing the roll a little bit. Remember, Mars is in Pisces. So Mars in Pisces is slower. Mars does not leave Pisces until New Year's Eve. Yeah, New Year's Eve, December 31st. And that's when it'll move into the sign it rules. That is when we get the go signs. That's when the green flag waves, right? So we have that coming. But right now, there's just this other weirdness going on. So we're also, I wrote down, be in spirit. Be in spirit. I think what I meant was be inspired to be in spirit, to do things, to be doing spiritual things, right? Spiritual things. Be inspired and inspiring to other people in terms of your mood and in your, happiness and joy, but don't be inspired to take action on things that you shouldn't take action on yet. In any rate, tomorrow the moon is also in the first crisis point to the sun. Remember, the moon and the sun were new just about 7 or 8 days ago. And now we come to the first crisis point, which is the first 90-degree angle that they make to one another. We call it the crisis of action, where indeed something in the external world may look like it is blocking you, or there may be signs that, what you want isn't going to come. that maybe you have to change directions or do something different. So we have to deal with something in the external world that has challenged our ability to move forward with whatever it is we intended at the new moon. So if you intended something at the new moon, likely something now in the outer world says, not yet. Or, it's a chance comment someone makes, right? Or it appears that the outer world is resisting your movement forward. And so it causes a pause. There's a natural pause that comes up here in movement forward. And what I think about when I see this is that, many times we come to, what does the stop sign tell us, right? It tells us to stop, make sure the path is clear, and then go, right? That's kind of what the first crisis point is like. We have to come to a stop, sort of reveal to ourselves what those blocks are, or maybe those blocks are being revealed to us through someone else in our outer world. And then we've got to determine what to do to clear that block. Is it something we have to maybe I have to make a right turn and go to the next block because there's road construction in front of me, and then I can continue on my path. So tomorrow is that day where things may be blocking your path, and you've got to determine what's the best course of action. And in the meantime, you stop, right? You wait until you've got clarity around where it is that you're going or what the next step might be. So I know that always feels icky. The first crisis of action is often usually the one that's the worst, because we're so willing at that point to give up on what it was that we intended to have or intended to do. So don't give up, just come to a stop and kind of evaluate what the next step might be, or how long is this stop? Okay. Not giving it up and throwing it over, but determining where can I go next, right? What's opening up for me? Londa says, think about it. Think about what? Hold on. Hopi goes into the kiva deep within the earth mother, in the dark, warm womb of the mother, and work and dance with the snake until all is complete, and then brings the snake out of the kiva in ceremony with the rest of the community. Wow, that's interesting. Yes, I like that. The Hopi. And of course, the Hopi are from the desert areas where, of course, rattlesnake is plentiful. So there we have it. Let's see what else is coming up on Saturday. Saturday, I think, is it. Oh, yeah. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's go into Sunday. Sunday. The moon is in Aries now all day. Aries and the moon, right? The moon rules Cancer. It rules the emotions, our inner dynamic, where Mars is more action oriented. It is fire. It is wanting dynamic motion. It's a bit frustrated right now because he's locked in a water sign. The moon in a water sign, the moon in his fire sign is making the potential for us to have some emotional explosions going on Sunday. But it's also a day where I see new pathways beginning to emerge. Remember, Saturday's the day where you're coming to the crisis of action point with the moon and the sun. And then Sunday, that's past. And now we might be able to see new things beginning to emerge. It's maybe not time to take action on them yet, but we can see that there's something moving in front of us, something that we maybe had missed in the blindness of our emotions before, or wasn't clear yet, and now it's getting clear. It is a day on Sunday to be joyful in the simplicity of life, right? That joy in its very core, at its very core, is simplicity. And there's something else that's going on, and I can't remember. Is it that day? Hold on, let me see here real quick. It is the 16th, Sunday. Yikes. So, I've told you guys that the planet Saturn has been sitting at the gate of joy for a long time. It has been sitting at the gate of joy, gosh, for the last several months, off and on as it moved retrograde and so forth. And it is now back to the gate 38. And on Sunday, it makes that transition. So Sunday is a day where where Saturn is transitioning out of our base energy of joy to the more tweaky energies of gate 38, which is about fight. It's about fighting. It is taking up a cause. It is activating the need in us to become more active in our outer worlds. It doesn't mean we're taking action yet, but it does tend to be the next, several months, actually off and on, that we are dealing with this energy of what is a cause that we want to persevere in. The gate 38 is really sort of the opening salvo in mutation and transformation. And it is that there's something that we see that needs to change. And it's maybe a shift, a big shift, a paradox that we have found ourselves in. And now we need a shift, a paradigm shift, even that would help us move forward. And it brings up the energy of fighting to make that shift. It's not like fist fighting, although I would imagine in the outer world, it could look kind of like, arguing and confrontation and fighting. But it is the fight to make a change. The change has to be adaptable, it has to make sense. The mutations are maladaptive if it doesn't make sense, right? And then that mutation dies off. And that would be sort of more on the genetic level, but this is not so genetic as it is, can we keep going the way we've been going and expect that we're going to survive? Right? What is the struggle that we are? What are the titanic struggles that are going on? Because we're not talking some easy breezy, Venus, Mercury, it's going to be gone tomorrow energy. Nope, we're talking Saturn. And Saturn now shifting from a gate where we were getting back to the basics, which is the basic energy of joy. Now we're moving into another basic energy. It's still on the root center, but the impulse here is to make change, to see the path ahead and to create sustainable living. And this is a difficult one because there's so much that needs to change. It feels so big. It feels like there's this titanic struggle that's going on, and that you, me individually, don't have a lot of power to enact the bigger change that needs to take place. But there is power here in coming together. Remember, one of the key themes for 2019 is about community, coming together in community to empower sustainable changes. And when I say sustainable, this is where that ideal of conservatism, stewardship, resourcefulness come into play. And this may be the first salvo for us in that shifting energy in what is it that we can do to really create a space for us to survive this planet, to leave a planet for our kids and our grandkids and our grandkids' kids. I mean, it's pretty amazing how close we are to destruction. And in this, we have this opportunity now to fight for what's right? Instead of allowing other people and their motivations to overshadow what's right out of, I was thinking about this yesterday in, I don't want to go into it, but anyway, I was just thinking about this yesterday, this idea that people are blindly following somebody and believing everything that comes out of his mouth, even though everything that comes out of his mouth is plainly a lie. And it just boggles my mind. I can't even see, feel, hear, intuit what the disconnect is there. What is the paradigm that people are holding on to so tightly that they will even ignore the obvious? I don't know. I don't know. It's weird, right? But I think that there's a pattern shift about to be embarked upon. And Saturn is also the Lord of karma. And I think it is a trigger for people to rise up, whatever country. It doesn't even matter if it's this country. It's all over the world, right? People to rise up and to be able to see that the emperor does not have any gosh darn clothes on. and then to call them on the carpet for it. And not only to call them on the carpet for it, but to do something about it in favor of shifting a paradigm. So that's a bigger shift in the works. It begins on Sunday and is in the background. So of course, nothing, I mean, there may be something big that happens on Sunday. I'm not going to say there isn't going to be, but I'll tell you something else that's happening in the background of all of this is that the gate 22 in your human design chart sits on the emotional center and it moves up toward the throat at gate 12. Gate 12 happens to be my sun. And this week, tomorrow, we shift to where the Earth is sitting at gate 12. And now Mars will be sitting at gate 22, along with who else was at 22? Hold on, let me check. Oh, Venus is no. It is Mars. It is Mars at gate 22, and then the moon at gate 22 on later tonight and into early tomorrow. And the gate 22, of course, because the moon is conjuncting Mars later on today. So they will be conjunct at gate 22, which is dishonor in its lowest expression. It is the path of dishonor to grace coming through graciousness. And here, the high side, the high potential here is the ability to change our involution meaning how we're shifting on the inside to becoming more honorable, to becoming more gracious. And what does gracious mean? It means softer, gentler, truer. We could look up that word and we'd find a lot of different meanings, right? We think of people in that have grace as also being charming sometimes. Charm and grace, they kind of go hand in hand. And this is a gate on the emotional center. So we either have charm and grace or not. It can become disgraceful, dishonorable. And so we are moving through some really interesting energies deeper in the dark, deeper in the unconscious, perhaps this weekend, as more so than what we would see at first blush, right? This is my struggle here lately, is that, I do a lot of writing right now for the Astro Inklings and things like that. And I've kind of gotten beyond, I want to get beyond the just superficial meaning of things. I want to go deeper. And I recognize that I'm walking a fine line between the people that are not there yet and, are still, just waking up to some of these ideas. And then the people that are on the side with me that have gone deeper, that are ready to go deeper. So I'm walking this fine line. So that's the reason why in the morning I'll bring up things that are like this, the astrology, which on the surface is all about, moon in Aries or whatever, but then these deeper things that are going on underneath and moving through the dark, moving through the depths. And, periodically it's like the monsters of the deep, right? The Loch Ness monster, right? Moves in the deep and every once in a while pops up and people see, right? The something from the depths has popped up. And that's kind of where we are right now, where there's these very deep things moving us from the well, from the depths. I would say moving us from, because right now we're moving ever closer to the sun is moving ever closer to conjunct the galactic center. And so there are these things coming up, and they may be things coming up from cosmic consciousness, not just your consciousness, but cosmic consciousness, where we are all attached in a collective and all have access to this the bigger truths, the bigger play in action. And every once in a while, like perhaps this weekend, the Loch Ness monster comes up and someone snaps the picture, right? And then of course we can't prove it because no one can find it in the depths, no radar or sonar or anything like that can find it. And so we, automatically assume it doesn't exist. It was just in that person's imagination. It was a trick of the light. But indeed, that is not what's true. What's true is there is something moving through the deep, and it is coming up, and it is changing our world. It is changing us. It's a mutation, perhaps, that is happening, we could say. The sun moving into the gate of light tomorrow kind of brings that up out of obscurity, right? Where it has laid in the dark, it now comes up for the light. And it allows us in the week ahead to bring more and more light into our DNA, lighting you up from within. It's pretty cool when you think of it that way. It's probably something I don't think you can consciously even control. It is happening, period. Even those people that are playing the roles out in the outer world of the darkness, or the people that we are looking at that are showing us dishonor and disgrace, they're showing us something. They're valuable in this grand scheme of things, right? They're showing us something. And the light then comes along to highlight that for us, to bring more and more potential into our DNA. And it's kind of crazy, right? So, Debbie, I don't think any of us should be following anyone political. They are all crooked liars. And I bet you, if given the chance, not one of those people that we consider to be crooked liars would want to be that way. But there are forces upon them the moment they take office, or the moment that they get into a position of wanting to live from what it was they told us they would live from, that force them to, what is the word? To let go of their ideals. Compromise. That force them to compromise. And compromise, I do believe, is a shadow of one of the gene keys here. Compromise. One of these. Yep, there it is. Gene key 14. Remember when we were talking about Jupiter at 14 and it was all about bounteousness? The shadow was compromise. When we let go of our ideals and our truths in the face of pressures from the outer world, we compromise. So, I mean, even the people that, we look at right now who are showing us dishonor and disgrace, my bet is when they went in, they had ideals. They had ideas. Now, granted, there's a lot of other ugliness going on behind the scenes that we're not privy to. But I know that there are a lot of good people that decide to run for public office, and then they get in there and they're shut down. And they are forced to compromise to get anything done. On one hand, compromise isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it is when you are compromising your values. That brings me to Venus, because Venus is in the last week of her sitting at any gate in the spleen, and the gate of gate 44 is the one she's at now, where patterns from the past repeat themselves. And it's always a choice point. Say that 10 times fast. Choice point. Where are we going to make a change, or are we going to get more of the same? It's a choice point. Are we going to look at the past and take the best from the past and bring it forward and join it with the best of the potential for the present to move it into the future? Or are we just going to keep reverting and keep making excuses for, and keep compromising, and keep getting the same old in the face of a new person, or a new Congress, or a new prime minister, or, whatever, a new law? So it's really interesting times, I think, that we live in. We are becoming more and more conscious of this, and in that then is my hope. My hope is that we can empower ourselves to really push for the changes that we want, right? We outnumber the dark in our light. We just have to remember who we are, and to remember to bring up that light, to live from that light. Okay. Any questions? Rebecca, good morning. I appreciate your transparency with that fine line you're walking on, as this is exactly what I'm experiencing right now, wanting to go deeper, but still holding space for people to catch up. Yes, exactly. And Debbie says exactly, but she's speaking about what I was talking about, where, everybody goes into office with high ideals. Most people do. I don't know about our current president, but I do know that a lot of people go into the office with high hopes, high ideals, and then get beaten up for them when the agenda, the hidden agenda, begins to cause compromise, and not the good kind of compromise either. Mimi, there's a huge gada ahead, perhaps in 2019. Yeah, I think so. So at any rate, we are walking a fine line. Let's draw a card for us for the weekend and see what the high side is. I hope I didn't bring people down. That was not my intention, because it really isn't that bad of a weekend. It really is a weekend for us to be imaginative and, be somewhat playful. I drew Treasure Island. I didn't draw it. It fairly jumped out, but you know what? It jumped out upside down because from my viewpoint, it's upside down. So I think what we're going to do is read both the right side up and the protection message, which would be upside down. Suzanne, if you're with us, this is card number 9. She likes to put up the number information. What did I do with the book? Here we go. Number 9. Treasure Island's essential meaning is the law of attraction, bringing dreams into fruition. The results of positive thinking made manifest, abundance appearing as if from nowhere, financial gains, and the sharing of good fortune. Well, I kind of like that one. The oracle's message says you've worked hard and acted upon your unwavering belief in abundance, and suddenly, in the midst of it all, you hit the jackpot. You have uncovered the map to buried treasure and tapped the unlimited potential within you. What you must hone now is your ability to recognize when X marks the spot, because some of these golden opportunities may be obvious, but others may not be so readily apparent. Trust your intuition to light your way now as you enter this truly prosperous phase, where all the long, hard work navigating your inner life is now paying off externally. In all aspects of your life at this time, you have good fortune. Don't forget to enjoy it and share it with others, as treasure shared multiplies like magic. Woohoo! So the protection message, just in case: poverty, consciousness, and a sense of not enough cast a shadow on your path. These ideas and core beliefs come with a high cost. Do you really want to proclaim yourself a victim of disappointment and failed expectations? Are you avoiding success because you will grow so tall that others will want to cut you down? Or is it possible that you're caught in a fear that you will lose what you have acquired, so you hold on so tight that you miss the opportunities to expand? You are challenged to change the way you see the world and move from a perception of limitations to a perception of abundance. Take a risk, for you have nothing to lose except your confinement in a prison of your own making. Open the door and find the abundance waiting for you to claim it. Yes, that's awesome. I think that's a really good card, but remember, sometimes taking action is not in your best interest. So be cautious, right? Treasure Island. I think we've had this before. I remember this. And I think it's a great way to end for the weekend. Things falling on my desk. What time are we looking at? Oh, okay. So is there anybody out there who has not had me draw a card for them that would like me to draw them a card? Silence. We'll see. I'm just looking back at a couple of the comments. Debbie, what did you say? Sorry, disagree about, because I missed maybe the conversation somewhere. Patricia Wood says, me. Lovely. Let's all focus our energy on Patricia, and let's draw her a card. So for Patricia, the card for you. Whoa, half the deck wants to fall out for you, Patricia. There must be a lot going on in your life right now. I get building blocks. Card number 28, which is a 10, which is a 1. Yes, this is a good one. Building blocks. Let me show you the picture of it. So we have this beautiful fairy on top of, looks like a building in the process of being built, right? The blocks beneath her feet. Set the foundation. And card 28. 28. Building blocks. Strong foundations, a beautiful work in progress. The oracle's message says you have everything you need to cultivate an extraordinary life. This is a time when your focus needs to be on the foundations you build upon. Your work, your relationships, and your very being are underwritten by your values, ethics, morals, and core beliefs. Are they still true for you? Will they stand the test of time and serve as the solid grounding upon which you construct your life? Now you are making changes that will affect everything in a positive way. Your destiny is truly a remarkable and beautiful design. Your prosperity message says you have everything you need to turn iron into gold in the alchemical process of creating the prosperous life you desire. Now is the time to build on the strong foundation you have already laid for your prosperity. Keep in mind that these building blocks are imbued with the sparkling energy of your intentions. Own your dream. And remember that you always have more than enough and you always are enough, so abundance is ever present. Your creativity is divinely inspired, and the design for your life is taking shape in service to the world. You are meant for success. I'd say that's a pretty auspicious card, don't you think? Let's see. There's a huge. Okay, we got that. Asa, me, please. No, but I'll take one. Holly, good morning. Thank you, Holly. That is really sweet. I am definitely back in the pink. Funny thing, I'm wearing pink this morning. I'm wearing pink this morning because I don't know why. I just felt like pink this morning. Pink is one of my favorite colors. Ooh, here we go for Asa. Tick-tock. Tick-tock. Upright. Tick-tock. You're welcome, Patricia. Tick-tock is card number 30, so it's a 3. Looks like a clock. It looks like time is flying because it looks to be attached to a balloon, right? So card number 30. Doop-de-doo. Nope, that's 31. 30. Timelessness, divine timing, immeasurable time. The oracle's message says that when humans created time, everything changed and contracted. People have come to look at life in a linear way, imagining that the past is behind them and the future ahead of them. But what if that isn't true at all? What if everything, creativity, beauty, chaos, and order were happening now in a glorious timelessness? You have all the time in the world to co-create the life you desire, so release your agenda. Let go of your need to shape each moment to your expectations, knowing that what is yours will never be withheld from you. Miracles are here right now and always show up when you need them, right on time. Your prosperity message in this is your prosperity is co-created by your endeavors as they occur in human-made time and the eternal efforts of your most important manifestation partner, Spirit, in a divine, measureless time. So keep doing what you're doing. Stay positive and make a commitment to remain in high vibration thoughts and feelings. If you heed the message of this card, it will seem as if you will align with your highest calling and your highest good in no time at all, like magic. So what's all the fuss about not having enough time? The prosperous life that is yours will never pass you by. I think that's a pretty awesome message, Asa. And let's see who else. One more before I've got to go. I think Debbie said no, but I'll take one. I think you mean a card reading, Debbie? That was before. Let's see for Debbie. Oh, Yishka. I didn't get very far there, Deb. Oh, 2 popped out for you. Oh, loyal heart and time to go. There we go. Loyal heart and time to go. I don't think I've ever seen this card. It is card number 35, which is an 8. It's loyal heart and then time to go. I do believe we've had its number 45. It's a 9. And let's read. I don't remember which one. I think it was loyal heart that first came out. So I'm going to read that one first, Debbie. 35. 35. I know we haven't had this card before. Essential meaning is fidelity, loyalty, devotion. So the oracle's message is evidence of loyalty will appear in your life. Others will prove they are faithful to you, and you will in turn commit fully to them. There is a sure and abiding certainty in your heart. Know that Spirit is always loyal to you. No matter what the outer circumstances in your life, trust and have faith, for you are eternally loved, always divinely protected, and divinely directed. Your relationship message, your partnerships, friendships, and romantic relationships all have many qualities in common right now. Honest devotion, faithfulness, and a loyal heart are being shown to you. Are you as loyal in return? Now is the time for heartfelt commitments and trusting in divine protection. The prosperity message says your long term loyalty to your goals is becoming evident in the world of conditions where your aspirations for success assume form in reality. Success is finally taking shape. If you are loyal to your dreams, faithful to your plans while remaining flexible, and devoted to serving others, you will be shown proof of your true prosperity. This is the time for joyful celebration of spirit. This is a time for joyful celebration of spirit, your manifesting partner. I think that's pretty cool. Time to go, number 45. I have a feeling I know what this one might mean for you, Miss Debbie. The essential meaning is endings, completion, walking away from something because there is nothing else to learn or experience. The oracle's message says you are at the end of one journey and have not yet begun the next. This is the moment to bless your experience thus far. Take stock of what you've learned. It's time to move on to new experiences and a new way of being. There is nothing left for you to do, be, or experience in your present circumstances. Take the risk and move on, even if you need to be in transition for a time. Your destiny is calling you. These cards are so interesting. The relationship message says it's over, or at the very least, the form this relationship has taken is no longer of service to you or the other person. This is a time of letting go, of knowing that the journey has come to its conclusion. That doesn't mean anything is lost, although this card could speak to a breakup, drifting apart, or the end of a soul contract. It is more about release than destruction. Remember the saying, if you love something, let it go. If it comes back, it's yours. If not, it never was. Endings are always a sign of new beginnings. If you want something deeper, walk away. The prosperity message says, this message is clear. The path you've been on with your work, creative projects, and business alliances has come to an end. You will not find the success you desire by continuing with what is now in front of you. This is an auspicious sign because there is no choice that will benefit you other than risking stepping into the unknown. It is time to walk towards something new. This card also pertains to the more neutral concept of completion. You've finished your tasks and can rest assured that this ending will open up a powerful new avenue of opportunity, even better than any you can imagine. You have done all you can. Now trust that Spirit keeps the plan moving forward. Fortune requires you to conclude this chapter of your life. And remember that when you close one door, another opens. I hope that's meaningful for you, Debbie. It seems, at one point I'm thinking that these cards are sort of dynamically opposed, but, who are you being loyal to, maybe is the question the other card brings up. Yeah. Debbie says, thank you. These cards seem opposite, kind of like the energy right now. Yep, I get it. But I think, loyalty, a loyal heart, being loyal to yourself and to your path forward. All right, guys, I am done for this morning. I know there are other people that wanted readings. Perhaps we'll take that up on Monday. I hope you all have a wonderful day, a great weekend. I will see you back on Monday. Thank you so much for all the healing and well wishes that you all sent to me. I love you all. Bye for now.